Hi everyone. Hello. Hi everyone. It's me, Sherry, and you're used to seeing me in my studio once a month with the beautiful stars behind me. That's Sherry's Metaphysical Corner. That's an educational program that I do every month, but I wanted to start breaking it up a little bit and doing something out of my home office. So I thought I would start doing little segments aside from this, and also I do some on Facebook Live. So what I want to talk about tonight is the heart wall with the emotion code that I use. The emotion code with magnets. It's similar to kinesiology. It's muscle testing using magnets, and I have been using this program since the turn of the year, and it's just been amazing. It's so helpful. It's not something that I took lightly. So I am really into this, and because I've seen too many benefits from it, it's just great. So I want to go over a couple of things with you tonight, and I'm going to keep it as brief as I can. So to start with, the heart wall. It's a large piece of the puzzle of trying to find out what's going on with us. And research shows that 93% of people have a heart wall. Sometimes when tuning into a client's subconscious and we ask, is there a heart wall? There is a 1% chance that we'll get a no. And the reason for that is because the subconscious may feel the person needs this while they're going through something right now. They may be going through a divorce, they may be taking a new job, they may be moving from New England to California, it might be something big change going on in their life. So the subconscious may feel it's needed, and you'll get a no, 1%, but you'll get that. And the subconscious knows everything about us. Believe it or not, the conscious mind, just to give you symbolism, this is symbolism only, is about this big. And then you have, let's say, like an iceberg. So this little tiny pea, size of a pea, is sitting on top of a huge iceberg. So what's showing on the outside or the top half of the iceberg, this little pea, and then what's under the water line, which is usually very, very deep, an iceberg goes quite deep, that's your subconscious. It's huge. It knows absolutely everything about us, all the ills we've ever had, any thoughts we've ever had. And it's tapped in to universal knowledge. It's tapped into that, and that's where we get this information. So the subconscious doesn't need this flowchart. It knows everything about us. We just use this to tap into universal knowledge so that we can help the clients. So that's what this is all about. So as we continue, another reason we may get a no answer when we're asking about the heart wall is the practitioner could be tired if they've worked a lot of clients that day. They could be dehydrated, or the clients themselves could be dehydrated. So, there's a few scenarios that can work through, and I always make sure that I have my trusty water with me always, because it does make a difference. So when we're working to release the heart wall, it will release somewhere between 8 and 12 trapped emotions. And it doesn't generally go beyond that because the body actually gets too tired, and it's a process. So the body can only release so much, and it takes time after that to handle the adjustment. So it's about 3 days. The adjustment is usually about 3 days going through that. And I also suggest to my clients, you might want to consider doing an Epsom salt or a Himalayan salt soak. Just soak in the bathtub for 20 minutes with either half a cup or a cup. And if you don't really like to take a bath, there's a lot of people that don't, you can do a foot soak. Same thing again, half a cup if you like, a cup. And just soak your feet for 20 minutes in really warm water, as warm as you can stand it. Same thing with a bath. It's very, very helpful, very calming to the nervous system. And this is something you can do every single day of the week. I mean, I have clients that use an Epsom salt bath every single night on their feet. The two of them, it's a couple. And at the end of their day, they'll have a cup of tea, and they'll just sit quietly after they've worked all day. This is an older couple and their children gone. And they love it. It's just something that they look forward to doing after working all day, and they're still working full time. It's great. Good for them. So it works. That's the reason why I'm suggesting it. It does work. Many of my clients use this. So Another reason too that we ask about that shifting, changing, and that it's 3 days, when we finish, we simply tune in again and we ask, does the client still have a heart wall with trapped emotions in it? Generally, it's usually a yes. And when we get that, this also kind of just shows that this is a process and this needs to be continued because it's in layers. Like I said, your heart wall is in layers, many layers, and it can be quite large. So it also helps the client to understand that this is a process and it's not something to take lightly. So take it easy after we do one of these and take a break. And now, when we're working on a heart wall, typically a practitioner can work on 2 issues during one session. So I generally ask a client if they have any other issues that they want to work on, anything that is really pertinent to them, a priority. So after completing the heart wall, as far as the body will go anyway, I always ask the subconscious, are you still open to healing today? And if I get a yes, then we'll work on one of the priorities that they had given me at the onset of the session. And it can be anxiety, it can be nervousness, it can be a physical pain of some kind somewhere in the body. It could be any kind of pain anywhere. It could be hips. It could be someone has tendinitis. It could be someone that has problems with their wrist because they're on the computer all the time. It can be money. Amazingly, it can be money. So if there are a few symptoms, I ask the client, do you want the subconscious to choose for you, or do you want to do this yourself? So I leave it as an option. So they'll give me an answer. Whatever they want is fine. And here's something interesting, an interesting question that we need to ask the subconscious if it chooses money, if it makes a choice for them. If the body says no, well, actually, what the question is do you feel safe being financially abundant? And if we get a no from the body, that's your answer. It tells you that's what you need to work on. So it's kind of interesting. I just found that out, so I thought I'd just pass that along to you. Now, you've heard me mention this before. Everything has a frequency vibration. Trapped emotions are no different. And they come from the organs. Whatever organs have been affected, that's where they come from. And that's what they're using to build the heart wall. What they're doing is they're actually shaving small little pieces off of the affected organs to build that heart wall. That's why we use the flow chart, so we can see which organs have been affected. And this actually is a protection that it's building for itself against whatever it is that it feels it's needed. So here is the flow chart, and I'm going to show it to you just a little bit closer. You have column A and column B, but then you also have the row that shows all the organs. So whatever cell block that we're actually working on to relieve the person of a trapped emotion, we're going to actually find which organ it was attached to. So we'll ask at the end of that, when we've released the trapped emotion that we found, we'll ask, what organ was affected by that? Was it the heart? I'm going to just use this as an example, row 1. Was it the heart, or was it the small intestine? And then it'll give us an answer, and then I'll write that down for the client so they have some feedback when I send them the transcript. So that was kind of an interesting thing to go through. And usually a heart wall is formed by some sort of trauma that the person really was really affected by, that really affected them. So it's an interesting thing to go through, how the body tries to help protect itself. So I'm going to leave you with 5 symptoms of a heart wall. If you kind of pay attention to this, you might find that you have one. And like I said, 93% of people do have one. I had one. I had it removed. So, number 1, low immune system or low energy. Also, a person can feel like they just don't fit in. 2, out of touch with your purpose in life, or whatever you feel your mission is. You're out of touch with that. You feel foggy about a real direction. Sometimes the head confirms your purpose, but the heart hasn't. The distinction is we feel more happiness when we're settled into a true purpose, into our real mission. We feel real happy all the time because we love doing whatever it is that we're doing, like a painter or an artist or holistic people like this. I mean, I love this work. So I know that I am in my true purpose. But, sometimes it takes a while to find that. And it's probably because we have a heart wall. Okay, so number 3, a desensitized heart. And with this, one sees love come to them, but they don't feel it. They don't actually feel it and own it in here. It's like they're locked up inside. This can lead to codependency of someone or something to fill up one's heart. And with that, one never really has their heart filled when they're doing that. When you're codependent on something or someone, you never really have your heart filled up with real love, the real passion that you feel like you should be doing, whatever that is. It could be something very simple and easy. It doesn't matter what it is. It's just whatever it is for you. You never really fill it up because of that heart wall being there. So it can, so when one has this, it can be somebody that takes a lot of abuse. Again, when a heart is desensitized, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse, and they will stay in troubled relationships. Now, we've all seen relationships where the male or the female keeps coming back and forth all the time, like yo-yos. What happens is they become professional heart wall builders, sadly. They keep adding layer after layer after layer over their heart, but they keep forgiving their partner and coming back. It's almost like an addiction. And it's funny that I'm bringing that up. It is kind of like an addiction. So after they keep building and building, the problem, they eventually become depressed, anxious, and they will actually have a form of PTSD. It actually is waiting for them, like a heroin addict. First, you're not really addicted, but little by little, by coming back to it, they start to become addicted. Crazy. Building more and more layers. It's like taking drugs and becoming addicted. So now, let's just say they finally do break free and they break off the relationship and they're out and they're on their own, doing their own thing and trying to recover. Let's say they're out and they've done it. They may start having depression, anxiety, panic attacks, and they don't even know why. They may even call their doctor and say, I don't know, I'm in a good place right now. I don't understand what's going on. I'm away from this yucky relationship that I was in, and I don't know. I just don't feel right. Something's not right with me. I don't feel good. So they do all kinds of tests and workup, and there's nothing wrong. Nothing shows up because you have a heart wall. Okay? So it's because we've built up such a large wall around the heart. And again, it's there as a protection. It's added automatically when we're going through things. Subconscious builds it automatically. So a heart wall is usually from some sort of trauma that really affected a person. Number 4, again, 5 symptoms of a heart wall. The 4th one is, and I made some notes so that I would get this correct for you. I wanted to make sure that I had this down to a science because I want people to be educated and help themselves. So I made some notes here. So love, communication becomes estranged. And a wonderful example that Dr. Brad gives, I just love this guy. He's just so humble and so in tune with people. I think it's just so great. I mean, you can actually see him sometimes during a lecture when he's, reading something about a client that he's worked on, or somebody has sent him a testimonial or information from somebody else that's worked on and just want to give him information. You can actually see him tear up. I just love this guy. I think he's just so for real and down to earth. It's just great. But anyway, this wonderful example that he uses a butterfly as an example. So our love message coming from the heart, as it starts to come out of the heart, it's kind of like a butterfly. And he's got it just moving along through the heart wall. As it's coming out, It has to go through all these layers that we have built up to get to the receiver that we're trying to send this message to of love. And it has to go through, I'm just going to use examples: anger, resentment, anxiety, despair, depression, low self-esteem, jealousy, and a whole lot more. But by the time it makes its way through all the layers, this beautiful little butterfly of message, it's so distorted that it doesn't even look like a butterfly by the time it's all the way out and is ready to make an appearance to the person that you really love and want to give them this message. It doesn't even look like a butterfly anymore. It looks more like the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's been bumped around so many times as it's made its way out that it doesn't even look the same anymore. It's so distorted. And unfortunately, that's what the other party receives, the distorted message, and consequently pulls away from you because it has all these attachments on it of despair, low self-esteem, anger, resentment, all this stuff. It's all over this beautiful butterfly. So that's what the person is feeling, junk. So I just thought that was a wonderful analogy to use. So one step further though, sometimes both parties can have a heart wall and end up shooting love blanks at each other. And that I found fascinating. If you both have one, wow, that can be crazy. So the two parties never really sure why there's so many issues with communicating with the two of them. So it's kind of crazy. So that's with the heart wall again. So the last one, 5, abundance in all things. So it can be self-love, you love yourself, you know when to say no, you know how to say no. Wealth, definitely, and I'll go into that in a little bit. Wonderful friends, a happy job, loving companion. Isn't that something? That's awesome. So the reason I include wealth in this, a heart wall will block you from financial flow. It will actually block you from that. And it takes a while to unlock all of this so you have that freedom again. But it is there. It can be released. So it's like somebody is constantly looking for that big break. So when one's in the flow of abundance, abundance in all things follows. Dreams, loves, aspirations, job. So you need to be in the flow. And that is the 5 trapped emotion symptoms. So I'd like to do more of these, and I'm going to continue more than just my monthly metaphysical corner. I'm going to do this out of my home office as well. So you'll be seeing more of this with little educational snippets, and I'm going to try to make them short so that they're not boring and they don't become on and on and on. I like to make them between 15 and 20 minutes max. So if you go to my website, www.energyworkstudio.com, 1 S between work and studio, when you get inside the website, as it opens, you don't have to click on any icons. Scroll to the bottom and you'll see 2 short demos that I have uploaded of Dr. Brad giving some demos. One is a basic demo of releasing trapped emotion, and another is a heart wall. So you might want to check that out, along with lots of other things that are in the website that you may find fascinating and interesting reading. So in the meantime, this was tonight's episode about the heart wall. I hope you found it fascinating. If you have any questions, you can certainly get in touch with me. You can even email me if you like, energy4522@gmail.com. All right, in the meantime, take care, stay well, stay tuned, stay connected. Bye for now.